It is Thanksgiving week, and we are talking about T.I. getting dragged all over social media about his daughter and a lot more on Black Hollywood Live's The Trend.
You're tuned into Black Hollywood Live, the world's first digital broadcast network devoted entirely to urban entertainment and pop culture. Tune in right now.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Black Hollywood Live's The Trend. I'm Derrial Christon, and joining me today is Courtney Stewart.
Hello, everybody.
And we have a very special guest today, actress Lolo Spencer in the house. Y'all don't know, but she came in with the pink pumps. We can't show her, but her shoe game was on fire today.
Yeah, she came with the hot pink fire pump.
Yes,
so bringing
thank
the
you.
sexy.
And I'm feeling that the hair matches the BHL, logo mic color.
Well, look I got. This is what he does. So he makes it all divine timing.
Yes, it is.
Well, you have been doing some exciting things. I mean, you've been featured in a lot of places, CNN, all over, Hollywood Reporter, and these other publications and outlets and social media. So we're going to talk about all that and your project. But first, we're going to get into these hot topics.
All right, let's do it.
Hot topics. First up, speaking of hot, Jordan Spaks is sparking up the internets and the social media waves everywhere this week because apparently we are still in our feelings about whether or not your man can have female friends. So there was a post that her husband posted of him and his bestie. She is a super cute white girl, and they were out to dinner. And in the picture, she has her arm around you. I'm a mess.
Did you have to specify the cute white girl?
That part in there because that makes it different.
I mean, she was really cute, and she was clearly super excited to see her bestie as well. So they were at some kind of dinner restaurant, whatever, and the friend had her arm around Jordan Spaks' husband's neck, and he posts the picture. They're smiling, looking like they're having the time of their lives, and in his picture, like his caption, it said the following, quote, "Not very many people can, 1, get me out the house past 10:30, 2, get me to smile this big, and 3, have me talking about high school. Shout out to a real one." And then Jordan commented and was like, "Oh, I love you both. She's such a treasure." Like, they're so excited. But everybody, clearly Jordan seems to be fine with this. And everybody else isn't. Because the comments went ham, talking about it is inappropriate. His quote was inappropriate about his friend. And why is her arm all around him after hours like that, period? Like, you should never post that. That's disrespectful to your wife. Blah, 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 blah. They probably slept together at some point. The comments were all over the place. They really went in.
The assumption.
So, in the end, is it disrespectful to your mate to be posting stuff like that on social media?
I personally don't think so. I have many male friends. Some are married, some aren't. And as long as the relationship between you and that person is respectful, then I personally don't think that that's that much of an issue. And I've dated guys who've had female best friends as well, and I was never bothered by it because if that's something he wanted to do, he would have been with them. I mean, if they've had time since high school to have made something like this be possible as far as a relationship beyond a friendship, then it would have happened already. So, I mean, I personally don't think it's that much of an issue. People got too many insecurities, I guess. I don't know.
I can just see you just waiting for my answer.
I'm like, what you think?
I'm like, shit, because I got follow-ups.
No, okay, so here's the thing. I don't think it's a big deal at all. I agree with you in the sense of, if you got an insecurity and you are portraying an insecurity on your person, then that's on you. Because if you're going to, the way I see it is, whether you got a best friend of opposite sex or if you go out to a bar by yourself, if you're going to cheat, you're going to cheat.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it does not matter if you're on lockdown where you can't hang out with this best friend who's the same sex or opposite sex. I have lots of female friends who are like homies, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had, my ex did have a problem with one particular friend because we were so close. Like, we just were super close. And she felt sometimes that, wow, there's things that she knows about you that I don't, which I understand that. But on the flip side, we had grown up together, you know what I mean? So as long as you still give the support and love to the person that you're with, I don't think it is a big deal to have an opposite sex person. I wouldn't care.
Okay, my follow-ups are as follows. Do you have that same opinion with it being a childhood bestie versus somebody that you've recently met in adulthood, like a work person, somebody at work that you may have met that you really bonded with and are great friends, does that change your attitude about it?
Ooh, great follow-up question, because I didn't even think about that. I mean, obviously you can't compete with the past.
For sure.
If you have a history with somebody, you're just going to have to accept it to a degree. Now, we have to talk about how new
friends, honey.
How
new
new
friends.
is new.
Yeah, how new is new?
I mean,
like, how new is new?
I mean, new could be like, okay, say for instance, like you've been with this person and when you met them, they had this friend at work. It's now been years. Like they've been working together for years. So they do know them for an extended period of time, but it's still an adult friend that you met at work and is friends because y'all happen to work together. Because I feel like childhood friends is one thing,
right?
But
right,
new friends, and new adult friends. Like
I'm not gonna lie, and I consider myself a pretty confident person. But if they're a new friend and I feel like they're fulfilling something that I'm not fulfilling with who I'm with, then I'm gonna probably have a little bit of a problem with it. But I'm gonna keep my eye on it. I may not come in crazy at the beginning, like, hey, no, you got to shut this down. I might just kind of check it out and see how
you're gonna ride it out.
I'm gonna ride it out for a second before I show the card. You know what I'm saying?
I was gonna say I probably would agree with you on that, because for me I would need a little bit more context.
Yeah.
Like, what is it about this new friendship that is so special to where it has to be like either this close or whatever the case is? I would just need like because if they met like during a traumatic time in my partner's life that I wasn't aware of or wasn't around at that time, then it's like, okay, I could see how somebody would naturally bond. But if it's like y'all just kick it at work, and you just want to have drinks every night, and there really isn't like a deep context as to your bond as a friend, then I would probably be a little bit more skeptical. But I'm always play it cute first and then see, you know, what the deal is.
Well, and that's to follow up on that. That was going to be one of my things I said.
Yeah, always.
I say is that how often are they hanging out? If they're going to grab, drinks once a week on a Wednesday night happy hour, okay, fine. If they're going to lunch every day and grabbing drinks several times during the week,
and you calling them after work hours,
and you calling them after work, we will have a conversation. We will.
We will have a conversation. Now, both of you guys said you have obviously friends of the opposite sex or what have you, or it could be same sex if you're same sex, whatever. Does your behavior change when those friends end up in relationships? Like, because at some point you are like you're all single and everything's fun, but when that person is in a relationship, do you change your behavior at all, or are you more conscious of it at all?
I would probably say maybe certain things I'm a little bit more conscious and aware of just because of the optics of it. Like, for instance, like I have homies that I'll call at like 11 o'clock at night, like, yo, you want to go grab some food? Like, I'm hungry. And then you'd be like, let's go grab food. But like, if he's in a relationship with somebody, she may be there, she may not, or whatever the case is. So it's like, I'm not finna be calling you at 11 o'clock at night. And I'm always the one that's like inclusive, like, yo, bring your girl. Like, let's all go hang out if you want, or whatever the case is. But then that's sometimes a little tricky because it's like, you want your friend as your friend, and sometimes you don't want it to feel like every time you hang out with that person, that person has to that person has to come. And then it's just like, yo, like, what if he wants to talk to me about something that they're going through that he's not exactly comfortable talking to her about yet and wants some advice? Like, but if she's always there, then it's like, what you gonna do? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't even be the friend you want to be.
Well, it's tough because you're asking the question in reference to, do you change or do I change? I mean, here's the thing. I think certain people bring out certain things in you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when you and I hang out, you bring out certain things out of me as my friend. Why are you making that face? But you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so my close friend who my ex had a problem with, we love horror movies. My ex hates horror movies. So when we were over and Netflix is playing a horror movie, we're gonna watch 3 and we're drinking our wine and laughing and watching it. She's bringing that out of me. You know what I mean? Because that's just a common interest we have. Does that mean I'm gonna go sleep with her? No. But you know what I mean? Like, I definitely, and probably, if I was looking at myself in a hourglass, I probably do have different things that come out that didn't come out with my ex, and she probably noticed it, but it's not on purpose.
Right.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Every situation's different.
You know.
What's your opinion?
What's your opinion? Really asking all the questions.
Right.
Well, I mean, clearly, I'm the worst. Whatever. Like, my best friend in the whole wide world is an ex-boyfriend. Like,
Okay.
But we've also been best friends since we were 14 years old. So, like,
is this the best friend that I know?
No. I don't think so. No, because he lives in New York. No, I don't know what you're talking about. No. I was like, wait. I'm like, wait. Who
I don't want to put your business up on the social media in the show.
But
I'm just
whatever.
saying.
No, but I'm very aware. Like, there's definitely but I also understand that weirds some people out, and there have been, and obviously I've been in multiple relationships since we dated and were friends, and there was some that didn't care one way or the other, and it was clear that we were just friends, whatever. There's some that were more sensitive about it, so I had to shift my behavior a little bit to make the other person, because I cared about the person I was with. Like, I'll make you feel comfortable. That's still going to be my friend.
Of course.
But I will do things to make you feel a little bit more comfortable. And the same thing goes the other way. I have guy friends that once they're in relationships, I make it real clear to the girlfriend when they're around, like, ain't nothing here, sis. Like, and so my behavior does shift in how affectionate I might be, or when I'm hugging. Like, make sure when I hug him, if he comes in the room, I'm hugging her too. Like, it's not about like small things that you have to. I think it's just respectful. But it's tough. But it's some jealous people that'll go crazy. And you got a friend like that.
Oh, I was gonna say, and sometimes though, you do. I hate those kind of situations, or I dislike. Okay, I just said it again. I dislike those situations where it's like your man, your partner will say like, this girl is just a friend, but then that friend does too much. And then it starts to almost mess with your head, because it's like, because I'm not really a fan of those girls that be like, best friend, you're my best friend. And they say it in that tone that's like, girlfriend, are you flirting?
Right.
Are you trying?
Because she's trying hoping. She's hoping on the
assert
side.
her position.
Yeah.
She's trying to assert her friendship position.
Exactly. And it's just like, we don't need to do all that.
Yeah. It's tough.
That's extra.
Well,
but I don't think he did anything wrong.
I mean, honestly, looking at that picture, to me, it looked fairly innocent, to be honest with you. It looked like homies, you know what I mean? And plus, my thing is, too, if he's posting, when he's not posting about the friendship is when you need to worry. He's posting like, hey, this is my G right here. Homies, we out, you know, in the streets, but we having fun, you know? So it's like, I don't know.
That's what it is, kids. Keep your eyes
open.
open.
Jordan don't have a problem with it.
Jordan's fine. Jordan's fine with it.
And Jordan might have some male friends that he's comfortable and cool with too. Like, we don't know what their situation is.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
In the end, y'all in them comments on Instagram, y'all need to calm down, because y'all be going real wild.
Relax.
All right. Moving on to next topic of the day. Miss Lena Waithe was out in the streets. She's doing her press tour for Queen and Slim, which we were just talking about.
I got to see it.
Be out this
Phenomenal
weekend.
film.
Make sure y'all check it out.
She's seen it twice.
Yes, I've seen it twice before it came out.
She's co-signing it twice.
So
that is that good. So make sure you check it out. But nonetheless, while she was out, she was doing an interview, and she spoke about code switching and how basically she's done. She won't do it anymore. No matter what room she walks in, she is not code switching. She's just going to be herself in the fullness of her blackness, and that also means in her language. And she said the following quote, I was just like, I'm not going to do that anymore. And it sort of changed things for me. I no longer feel like I have to amend to their culture anymore. My culture is just as worthy as theirs. I do that on the page in the film as well. I wanted a movie that was one where we didn't appeal to a broader audience. I really wanted it to appeal to us. And if white people wanted to come and listen in, they could. And she said that her reaction that she's gotten from choosing to do this has been mostly white people being, well, when it's obviously non-black people that are like, whatever, they are actually excited and feel privileged to be brought in. It's almost like they feel like they're being brought in on the inside of something that they weren't
learning the culture from a different perspective.
From the inside in. So, but she specifically said, like, they felt like they're hearing her native tongue, which I kind of took a weird, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah. But it was interesting that mostly she's had positive reaction, and she felt that brought her a different kind of ownership of herself and brought her more power in the room. What y'all think? Do y'all still code switch?
I mean, there's definitely, kind of being on the journey that I am in right now, there has been a couple of times where I'll be ready to like leave a comment or something on somebody's picture, or want to leave my own caption on my own brand and think twice. Just being honest, just guilty of it, of thinking like, ooh, if I say it like this, if I, because I don't know if we can curse or not on this show.
Girl, you can say whatever you want.
Say,
okay. Because every once in a while I want to drop a nigga under a comment or in my caption, just be like, oh, out, whatever. But then I'll think twice and I'm like, ooh, our brand's gonna think some type of way. Is this gonna mess up the brand or the image or whatever the case is? But I've built everything that I've done on being authentically me. So that's the part that I have to catch and remember, like, okay, I'm just gonna say what I want, because right now, thankfully, in 2019 and in this era, people are fiending for authenticity.
They are.
Because social media has created the narrative that everything on there is fake.
Yep.
So people want to get the real. They want to see people be them. They want to see them fail. They want to see them win. And they want to be with people on their journey to wherever that success may lead them to
relate.
be.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And find areas about their favorite person that they can relate to. So yeah, I mean, I'm guilty of thinking twice about code switching, even sometimes in certain meetings. Like, you can't go off. But I think in the same breath, naturally, like, how you are around your family isn't necessarily how you're going to be at work.
That's true too.
Either. So it doesn't have to be code switching with regards to race relations, but it's just a matter of just, I guess, being mindful of where you're at. But if she's feeling that way, then that gives me more courage to be the same way no matter what, especially on this journey.
Yeah, I mean, I find it really interesting because it's hard, because it's like we've been so trained to do it all of our lives.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just a natural thing. I remember my parents always saying, well, now when you go in that room for that job interview, you gotta keep that lingo different, you know?
Right.
And so it's just been in my brain for so long that I have an example. I'm doing a show on CBS called This Is LA, and it's a lifestyle show, and I'm the only man of color on the show, okay?
Yeah.
Let's just put it like that.
Yeah.
It's a great show, great cast.
It is a great show.
And my
yes.
producer, Robert Parks Vallada, unbelievable dude, and I had done a couple episodes of the show. And all he tells everybody, he's like, just have fun, be yourself, have fun, be yourself. And I was like, okay, Rob, you saying be myself.
Right.
But like, be myself sometimes, there's certain word choices that I would use, if I'm at home with myself, with my friends,
Right, exactly.
And so he's like, all I can tell you is be authentic you. And ever since then, he was like, I want that. He was like, I mean, obviously you can't like curse and things. But he's like, be you, and the rest will follow. And ever since he did that, like, it was like a freeing thing. It was like I felt the most authentic that I've ever been on doing like hosting the show.
Yeah,
because I was able to really, outside of Black Hollywood Live, but like because that is a different arena, because it's majority. Most of our viewers are white women, you know, so it's like, well, how black can I be? And I hate saying that, but it's like, how black can I be? You know what I mean? And I was like, you want me to be black? How black can I be?
Because y'all asking for mine, but
you know what I'm saying? Are you really ready for some black?
Is you really ready, though?
Are you really ready?
I mean, I think that this is a time where now, probably, like Lena is saying, that I love that she is her authentic self, and I think that it is more accepted now than it ever would have been.
Yeah, absolutely.
I still think there's still a fine line with certain rooms.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Because there's still, I feel like our generation is a younger generation, but the older generation who are executives may not feel that same way.
Right.
You know, they may still judge certain things.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, and she's in a position now where she can do that. But if you are a new person in the game, I don't know if you can fully, maybe you can. I mean, I hope that you can, and hopefully that will always be the case. But if you are new, I wonder if you're judged on different standards when you are maybe your first project, you know what I mean, versus your 20th.
I'm sure it's with some, like, everybody's you're going to get some pushback from some places somewhere. It's just a matter of you deciding that it doesn't matter. And obviously, like, I'm not on Lena Waithe's level.
I was just going to say that. Go ahead.
But in terms of, like, even, because I've noticed, and maybe it's just with age and the sort of renaissance that we are having creatively, like, even my last short film that I did, I was hired, came on this film as a producer. They had raised some money, needed me to help them figure out how to spend it, whatever. It was all white women, young white women. And I was just like, I'm not, whatever. Normally I try to like, soften things up for them or when
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
goes sideways, and then you have the whole like balancing of making sure you're not perceived too like angry and aggressive or whatever
Right.
because you're an authoritative figure in this position, whatever. And this last time I was in the room and like Lena, I kind of just, whatever, this is what y'all need, this is what and I just was able to feel comfortable doing me completely.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that is just in the ether because that's just a space that we're in, and that's not to say that we weren't our best selves before, but it's like obviously like a time where we feel like, you know what, if you don't like it, you ain't got to deal with it.
Right.
Period.
Forget you.
Period. And I was kind of both to your point is like, I think I don't know people who are like new to the game how much they can get away with being that authentic person like off top, because that's the other part of it too, is even thinking like you say, well, I'm not at Lena Waithe status yet, so maybe I can't be myself yet, or I haven't achieved X, Y, and Z yet, so I let me still keep it cute and keep it respectful or whatever the case is too. But I mean, I'm just thinking like, because I don't know, have you guys seen any like press of her talking about how the studios gave her final cut?
How she demanded like that was all she the only way she was gonna do it.
People, like all of that thing. So it's like when you have somebody really advocating for their authentic Black selves in that way, I think that's a great start to start trickling it down to where we don't have to, especially as creatives, almost live in fear to tell the stories we want to tell in the way that we want to tell them, in the way that we know is intended for the people we want to watch.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And if anybody else wants to come in, great. But if you don't, I'm not tripping off you either.
Right. And we definitely are starting to see it. Even when I watch commercials now, I'm seeing more authentic Black people that I can relate to on commercials versus your cookie cutter, whatever from back in the day. Like, you know what I'm saying? And obviously, once again, we come in so many different flavors. There's not just one type of Black person.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Your Blackness is different from your Blackness is different from my Blackness.
Exactly.
You know
And my
what I'm saying?
Blackness isn't like, I don't have to make it palatable for white.
Exactly.
Just because they're the majority or whatever anymore. And I feel like that is kind of invading all spaces at this point, and I kind of love it.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Well, thank you, Lena, because that's going to inspire a lot more people.
It's a great time to be Black.
Great time to be Black.
It is so great. So great.
It's always great, but this is one hell of a
extra
time.
great right now.
Because when Black folks really just go
It's like Rick James, you should have never gave you niggas money. It's going to be one of those moments.
But then they're gonna be like, but dang, you are patting our pockets. Y'all be buying stuff, don't you? It's like, shut up. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Right. And scene. All right, well, we're going to move on to our ER Web Story Spotlight of the Week. BHL exclusive.
Ew.
All right, we got some new music for it. I like that. I think that was my voice, actually.
It sounded like you. You're the soundbite.
That was my voiceover. All right, but hey, that's why it's good to be Black right now, right?
There we go.
You got many jobs.
I got many jobs. Voiceover, too. T.I. We've been talking about T.I. for weeks, and apparently we all can't get enough of T.I. because...
Let me get my dry grapes.
Right. Let me get my grapes, too. So T.I., as we know, a couple weeks ago, he was all over the media because of his viewpoint of how he goes to the gynecologist with his daughter and his explanation on why he goes, and a lot of people had a problem with it. I mean, people have been talking about it for weeks. Well, this week, he went on to Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett and her mom to address everything, and he brought on Tiny as well. And I don't know if you guys watched it. It's going to be a two-part. They started the first part.
I saw the first part.
First part, and then they're doing a two-part. So, a lot of people they had even showing on there who've made comments like Tarana Burke, for Me Too, started Me Too movement. She had things to say. And I really actually appreciate what she was saying and how she was explaining it, because she was saying there's a difference between control and educating your daughter is basically the gist of it. With all that said, they were sitting around the table, and Jada and her mom really went in. They were very honest about things. And I appreciate what T.I. was saying. I think that he came from a genuine place of basically saying that, listen, he didn't know. He said first off, he was joking a little bit about
he was
exaggerating what he was saying in reference to going to the doctor with his daughter. He said that he does not control his daughter. He has a love for his daughter, but does not control her. He said there's also misinformation out there. He said he's not sitting in the examining room with his daughter.
Yeah, which I assumed
Nobody thought that.
But I don't know.
Yes.
Social media was like questioning. Like some people were kind of questioning
people
that.
were questioning the like signing of the paperwork that allows the doctor to share information with her. Because like if he's being asked in the same room with the daughter, like, girl, you gonna sign this? Like, that's your daddy. You ain't gonna say. I wouldn't say no to my daddy.
Right.
Like,
well, I say no to my daddy, but that's okay.
Well, and he, he apologized and he did say that he can understand how women would feel, and I believe the brother, actually. I mean, sometimes you have to be checked in order to think of a different narrative for a situation. And I still stand by and say I think his intentions were good. If I had a daughter, I may want to do something similar. Now I know I would never do that because I will get dragged everywhere in life.
Yeah.
But I can appreciate the fact that at least he wasn't like defensive and was like, listen, because Jada was going in. Jada was like, let's just.
Right.
And he was like, no, I get it. I get it. And he said a lot of it was false narrative anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know if Courtney believes that because Courtney's making that side eye.
I'll let Courtney start.
I wanted to start with you, Lolo, but then that side eye caught my attention. So
go ahead. Let the side eye talk.
Look, y'all, I love T.I. Have loved T.I. forever. Like, whatever. I know T.I. T.I. is my people. Like, in terms of, like, his attitude, like, I know where he's coming from. I get it. And when he said, oh, it was like, I was joking. I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's the exaggeration, the same exaggeration. Like my dad would be like, if somebody's like, oh, what are you going to do when your daughter start dating? I'm going to have a shotgun. Like, of course he's not going to have a shotgun. So I get that sort of, the sort of energy that was behind what he was saying. However, in this interview,
let me get my raisins.
Let me see if she picked up on some stuff.
I mean, he was talking about how he know nothing about patriarchy and like, what's that? Like, what you mean? Like, how's that? Like, and it just, I don't know, because T.I. is a very vocal person in our community. Absolutely. And especially in our like sort of thought life and intellectualizing things that are happening in our community. And the idea that he is like completely absent of an understanding of patriarchy as it operates in our culture is
right.
Either it comes to me as a little bit possibly false, or if it's not false, then it also is very disturbing that you have placed yourself in a position to be speaking on issues on a regular basis. Right. And something as simple as the construct of patriarchy, even if you don't understand every level of it and how it's like permeating through culture, like he came across trying to seem like, and maybe I misunderstood what he was saying because they obviously edit and whatever. Right. But he really seemed like, I mean, how does that even apply in this? And it just was kind of disturbing. And it's also disturbing that he seemed more like everybody can raise their kids however you want. Because I can't tell you how to raise your children. Right. But the idea that you needed to be told that this is a private issue is also disturbing and unnerving.
You mean because he went on the radio?
Because he was speaking about it period publicly was not acceptable. Like it just was beyond not acceptable. And I don't understand how you need to be told that. So that makes me look at you sideways again. Like, really, you needed to be told that? Maybe you needed to be told why it was a problem what you were doing. Right. But speaking about it publicly, like I don't understand how you didn't get that.
I'm not defending it, but I still think it goes back to him saying that he was joking. Like sometimes you can joke and it was a bad joke. And it was a bad, he should not have said it. Okay? I'm not saying he should have said it, but sometimes you're just talking and you say stuff.
Yeah, he might have been just comfortable.
He was comfortable and wanted to run off of it. But I also, it's just really kind of, because I want to give him a pass because I love T.I. And T.I. to me, I think he's a lovable guy and he's an energy I'm familiar with. So I want to be like, oh, you didn't mean it. Yeah. But then the other part of me is like, no. Yeah. Because there's still so much that's problematic around that. And they didn't even get to begin. And I feel like, I know you were saying Jada went in. I don't feel like Jada went in at all.
I was going to say the same exact thing. I don't think she went in at all.
Not at all.
I felt like she was really trying to let him understand because she was saying, giving the example of she said she wants to raise Willow. She told Will that he just needs to be, protect her.
Of course.
But as far as her teaching,
but that wasn't, that's not going in. That's she was very understanding of where he came from. And I appreciated that. So she was giving him a safe space to we're not here to attack you, but we're having a conversation. But I don't really think she didn't really ask him very much at all. Most of her was like me sitting at the table like, bro, what you talking about? You don't know but patriarch. What? Like that was sort of her attitude. She wasn't really coming and grabbing and pulling. And again, that could have been editing. It's only a 22-minute episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
What have you. So who knows? But nonetheless, I just don't, I feel like we're quick to give it an easy pass. And there's so much conversation about like, oh, well, he's being a protective father. Like, we need to be on that. And at least he's there because so many fathers are not there. And I'm like, it's again giving a pass for doing what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be there.
Yeah,
you're supposed to be helping take care of your kids. So just because you screw up in doing that doesn't mean we give you a pass because at least you were there. No, like, let's have a legit conversation and a real evaluation of why this is problematic and why there's problems with shame and sex and all of that, and why what you did feeds that. And it also feeds the narrative because you clearly are contradictory about, because the conversation about the son, we only touched on that briefly.
Yeah, for like 2 seconds.
And his response was literally, if my daughter gets pregnant, that changes my household immediately. If my son gets somebody else pregnant, I mean, it changes, but it's not like immediately in my household.
Yeah.
Why does that exist in this culture? Because that's not acceptable. It should change your household immediately if your son impregnates somebody else, because he should be equally as responsible for that child as she is. Granted, the child lives in another house, but that doesn't mean it shouldn't shift everything for everybody. And that's a problem. And we're not actually talking about that.
I mean, it definitely should shift. I'm not going to lie, but there is still I can understand what he's saying.
We all can. We can, just like a lot of us can understand.
It's true that because of a woman, if a woman gets pregnant, she has the baby.
But not to be harsh, like a lot of people say the same thing about like rape. They're saying like, oh, well, you know not to go out doing this. You didn't watch your drink. You didn't. You're putting the onus on the other person, and that shouldn't be getting that. We are not holding the other party that should be held responsible.
Right.
And
both parties should definitely be held responsible.
Right.
100%. So I don't know. I feel like we're quickly trying to be like, oh, we love T.I. He didn't mean it. It was kind of like, and I don't know. I don't think that's this is a time where we could actually be addressing some serious issues around young women and sex and dealing with young guys and why young guys still think boys will be boys is okay.
Yeah.
And if we really about this like Me Too life and trying to shift some narratives, like this is a moment that really could go somewhere.
I can respect that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I definitely watched the interview too. I think I would have liked to see Jada maybe go in a little bit more, but it's sometimes like if you're interviewing your own friend, you understand that person just naturally who they are, like you may not even realize that you didn't go in as much as you probably could have if this was a complete stranger. On the flip side though, I would say that I wish the conversation would shift from more so being like male versus female to more so just about sex education, period.
Sure.
Because I think it is completely unfair that, you know, I get it from the perspective like dads don't want, you know, their daughters being, as he said, on the defiled disrespected.
Listen, number one rule that was in my household for the dad is to keep my sister off the pole. Keep your daughter off the pole.
Right.
Number one rule.
Right, but where's the education to the young boy to say this is how you treat women?
True. That's fair.
So that she doesn't have to experience that.
That's true.
Exactly. And then also, just as a young woman, just the education of what sex is like. You are a sexual being just like anybody else on this earth, and how to be safe when you are in those spaces. How to detect, okay, this person may not be right for you or this person isn't, because he even made the statement, because Jada asked, you know, so what if she started talking to a guy or whatever, and he said, I immediately teach her, like, he's not for you, he doesn't like you, da-da-da. But then it's like, well, what if the young man did like his daughter and genuinely liked her and he wasn't going to disrespect her? But now she has the narrative that, well, I'm not talking for her, but assuming that that narrative would teach her that literally all men
ain't shit.
Is
right.
Like, ain't shit.
right.
And it's just like, how do you find love in a space like that? Because after a while, you're just going to give up.
That's true.
And then you're just going to be like, well, you know what? I just want to do it because, damn it, I'm tired of waiting.
Right,
and then that turns left because you're not educated correctly. Actually, Sham Booty, she's a YouTuber, and I don't want to like misquote her title, but she's like a sexologist or whatever, and she actually made a great point that really is just a reflection of him trying to protect his daughter from who he used to be when he was younger, which I think is all men to begin with. Yeah. But I think if you educate the young women early and let them know how to detect, how to pay attention, and all of those things, that they can move into the space making conscious and aware decisions saying, I wanted to do this because this is what I knew and what I learned, and I felt safe and comfortable with this guy to do this thing.
Exactly.
That's why it goes back to the education.
Yeah.
Education versus control.
And value yourself, not just of your purity through the eye lens.
Exactly.
Of men.
And if you lose your purity, virginity does not make you any less valuable as a woman and as a person, because that narrative needs to shift too.
Listen,
it's like next.
The show is over. I agree.
We got work to do.
We got some work to do, though. We got some work to do.
Right.
All right. Well, we're going to move on to our last topic of the day. This is some work that is being done right now. A biopic on Michael Jackson.
Shocking.
Is in the works. It's by producer Graham King, who credits include Bohemian Rhapsody. He has obtained the rights from the Jackson estate to make a film and has been given the thumbs up to use original Michael Jackson music. That's what I'm most excited about, to be honest with you.
Really?
King mentioned this will not be a sanitized story of Jackson's life, and it will reflect on the difficult complexities of Jackson's life and death, and that all will not be ignored. And he said the release date has not been given yet, but listen, I want a really good one, especially... We all have our mixed opinions about Finding Neverland on HBO, the documentary. This is going to show a different light, but it's also going to go through, it's focused strictly on Michael. So I can't wait to see it. It needs to be, good.
I need to know who's the writer.
It's the writer from
Avatar,
Aviator.
Aviator.
Whoever wrote Aviator.
Yes.
And
Aviator.
there was one other credit that I can't
Who wrote Aviator?
I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name, and it's funny, I was going to write it down too, but I can't remember his name.
Okay.
Just the
well, yeah, because I think that...
John Logan is the name.
John Logan.
Yes.
There we go.
Thank you.
I think that will probably be the most important part, because the script and the narrative is what's going to really tell the story.
That's true.
And really is what's going to make it like phenomenal and tell us stories that maybe we may not have known, or just things that we didn't know about Michael, what he was struggling with, or whatever the case is. Boy, that's going to be an interesting one.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be interesting. I'm just thinking about the licensing fees. I'm like, they got a budget.
Yeah, that's what I'm
and
saying.
And if they got a budget, then it should be at least look good.
It'll look good. It'll sound good.
It'll sound good.
I don't know what else going to be happening.
I don't know who's going to play him.
So that gives me two things I can look forward to as far as musicians and their stories being told. Is Prince's documentary that is being done, and then this.
Yeah.
Because I love a good, real story.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
agreed.
And like I said, the original music part is what got me hyped too, because a lot of times, no disrespect to Lifetime movies, but a lot of times they don't have the license. So it's like, okay, you like not giving.
And then the family signed off on this.
Yeah,
the estate. I'm shocked.
Yeah,
because it seems like it is being. I would think it's being done as. Because obviously the Finding Neverland situation, and like now it's like, no, we're not gonna let that be the last thing that people have on their minds about him. So, but then if they're actually addressing all of the things, I wonder how they're really gonna dig
deep.
Yeah, I'm like, how deep is they really finna go? Because
it can get juicy.
It can turn left.
It could be.
But maybe.
And I want to know what story they're going to narrate. Like, what do they want to tell?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because there's so much.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, because the Jackson
Michael.
5 American Dream is still the best Michael Jackson story.
Still the best.
Still is.
I still watch it every time it's on.
It's still good. You're right about that. You're right about that.
All 300 hours.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
Well, we shall see soon.
All right.
All right. So now we're going to talk
Speaking
about
of seeing soon.
See you soon.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
Next level. So tell us about this Give Me Liberty that you started as Tracy.
Yes. So I star as Tracy in the film Give Me Liberty. It's about a medical transport van driver in Milwaukee amidst the riots that happened due to police brutality that happened out there in the city. And essentially, literally having the craziest day of all of our lives. Like, it's all told in the span of one day. And it's just like situation after situation after situation. But it's a really great story about someone said in one of our reviews, the connective tissue to humanity, and how all of these different worlds come together on this van and experience all these things together. And so I play Tracy, who is a woman in a wheelchair, which I am also in real life as well. And I don't let up the whole time. I'm on his ass. But Tracy definitely has like an emotional arc as well. But she's a no holds bar person, social worker for other people with disabilities within the city, and we just go on this journey with these people in this van. So it's really, really amazing. It premiered at Sundance. It also premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, which like rarely ever happens for films. We had a theatrical release. I recently got nominated for an Independent Spirit Award for Best Supporting Female. Yes.
Congratulations.
I'm going up against J-Lo and Octavia Spencer, so
Hey, that's huge.
Hey,
I'm just trying to be in the room.
Yes,
I just want to be in the room.
You in the room already.
Yeah, so it's a great film, and I just can't wait for the rest of the world to see it.
Well, as soon as I walked in, like I said, the first thing I noticed was your style. And
Thank you.
You crushed the style. You got the swag. And I know you did some big campaigns.
Yes.
Adidas, Tommy Hilfiger.
Yes.
How did you get involved in on that side of things?
Yeah, so I've modeled the most for Tommy Hilfiger Adaptive. They reached out to me and was interested in me modeling for their brand, because I also have a YouTube channel called Sitting Pretty.
Yep.
And so I started making some noise online as a result of having the content on my YouTube channel, and I guess they just caught wind of it, and they just keep bringing me back. So I'm like, for sure.
That's dope.
Yeah, I love the Tommy Hilfiger team. They are incredible over there. Really, really great. The Adaptive line is amazing. It's fashionable, functional for people with disabilities, with like magnetic buttons and Velcro, closures and magnetic zippers. So it's just a great line, and I hope more people, as far as clothing is concerned, become aware of it and start making more adaptive, fashionable clothing.
Sure. What brought you all this confidence to the
Girl,
woman
listen.
that you clearly are acting, you are a model? Like, how did you get there?
You know what? It's been a journey, and it's an everyday journey. It's something that I have to practice every day. But I started creating my YouTube, and kind of similar to what we were talking about earlier with Lena as far as the code switching. When I was creating my YouTube channel, the first few videos, I was like, oh, let me be conscious. I don't know, some people like cursing. I don't know, some people like this and that. And then I just had straight up made the decision, like, if I'm going to do this, I need to be real about who I am and how I operate in the world. Mm-hmm. And from making that decision, I just let it all out. I cry on my channel. I, laughed. I'm drunk on my channel. It's just all kinds of stuff. I'm turning up. Like, it's real, And so, but once you start to see people really support you for who you are, you become more and more fearless in the process.
I agree.
And I just always kind of have this looming thing of like, we only live once.
Amen.
One time.
Yeah.
Like, why would
why
would we stop ourselves from experiences just because of somebody else or what society says or whatever the case is? So like I said, it's an everyday thing. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't, but it's all part of the journey.
Well, your energy, I mean, people can't feel it because they're not in here
can't.
with us, but like, I mean, it's like, it gets me hyped. I mean, I'm not being funny. And one thing I do, we have to wrap, but one thing I do love, I got to say this, is that you have a quote. And I love this quote. You said, you see your disability as an honor, not a burden. And that's deep as shit to me.
Yes,
what does that mean for you?
I mean, I am a person of faith and spirituality, so I believe that everything happens for a reason. I believe God puts us all on this earth for a reason and for a bigger purpose to serve others. And so for me, I look at my disability as an honor, because if God chose me to have a disability and live out a purpose to serve others, then I must honor that and be in honor of that and, pursue that every day that I wake up. And so I look at it as leverage more so than a burden, because I've just embraced it completely, and I just go through life just knowing that I've got something special to tell.
Well, rub some of that energy on me. I want some of that. I want some of that energy up there. We're going to wave that energy. That's a great way to end the show. I mean, that's like, it's a wrap. You dropped the mic. Bam.
There we go.
Where can fans find you on social media?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at It's Lolo Love, ITSLOLOLOVE. You can use that same handle on Twitter. My YouTube is Sitting Pretty Lolo, all spelled correctly. And because you know how black people, we love throwing
We
T's
love
and Y's where they don't need to be.
Like, that's not it.
But all spelled as it should be. And also on Facebook, Sitting Pretty Lolo.
I love that. And then follow her, and we're going to wish you good vibes for that
Yes.
Spirit Award.
Please.
Yes.
And if you're a member of Film Independent, please vote for me.
Vote for her.
Yes.
Where can we find you?
I'm all over the universe as Stuart Starlet. I'm going to be at my house eating some chicken and some everything on Thursday.
There we go.
Hallelujah.
All right. You can find me at Derrial Christon on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the social media. And also this Friday on This Is LA, CBS at 10 a.m. this time. So I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to be at Courtney's house later on during the day. I got a couple stops.
All of Atlanta.
Well, I might have to stop by.
Come by,
come
family's
by
in town.
for some food. You know.
Yes.
So everybody have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see y'all next week.
Yes. Bye.
On behalf of our BHL staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in to Black Hollywood Live, the world's first digital broadcast network devoted entirely to urban entertainment and pop culture. Check out our Black Hollywood Live YouTube page for even more great programming and amazing content. And be sure to subscribe and like our channel when you do. I'm your BHL host, Nakia Monet, and you can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom or at Black Hollywood Live. Black Hollywood Live. Hollywood redefined.